Hello, welcome to Texas Style Cuisine. I'm Chef Johnny, and today we're going to smoke up some pork loins for you, and they're going to have a sweet chipotle glaze on them. Open it up. I'll tell you what, pork loin is great. The main thing to remember when you do a pork loin is don't overcook it, because you can darn sure do that. Once you, there's no fat up in that meat, so once you dry it out, it's dry. There's no saving it. What I'm going to do is turn it over, and this is the part right here that we've got to get off. That's where the silver skin is. And so what I do is I just kind of take it like that right there. You can see. And all I've got is a fillet knife. You can use a flexible blade bony knife. That works fine also. But underneath this fat cap is a real thin layer of silver skin. And that's what we want off. So I just kind of take it. Kind of hold your knife level or a little bit, maybe just tipped up a little bit, so you're not cutting down into your loin. We want to be as close to this silver skin as we can. You can kind of see right here, we've got a silver skin. We're through the fat and to the silver skin. And that's the tough, chewy part that we don't want. That's what you'll hear some people call the sinew, but that's holding these muscles together. And you can trim what meat you want to. If you want a real pretty presentation, you can trim this part off out here. I don't always trim that off. You can like that. Just helps with your presentation. Depends on if it's for the family or who it's for. One thing that's real nice about these pork loins also is these are really cheap pork chops. Where you're gonna pay a lot for a center cut pork loin chop, you can come in here and buy a nice pork loin, and it'll save you a ton of money, because you're paying about $2.30 a pound for this pork loin at Sam's Club. If you go up there, I saw them there the other day. I didn't get these there. I got these at a restaurant supply store, and heck, they were $1.46 a pound when you bought them by the case. So you can imagine the savings if you slice your own chops out of it. But this is going to make a wonderful meal. We're having a family reunion here today, and this is going to be the main course. We're cooking up 3 of these loins with some chickens and some sausage and other things. So everybody's going to eat pretty good, and we're going to coat these with, I call it my sweet Chipotle Glaze. And all that is it is a 50-50 mixture of strawberry jelly and grape jelly. Turn it back over. You can see how pretty that looks. And I'm just going to season this up. Just like this. Don't put a lot of rub on here. This is my regular pork and chicken rub that I use. Y'all have seen me use this on my chickens and on my pork. I'll put a link to the recipe, or I'll put the recipe for it down below. But it's fairly simple. It's a pretty easy little rub. Little paprika, garlic, pepper, salt, little seasoned salt, a little oregano. But I'll put the whole thing on there for you. All right, this pork loin's ready to go. We're going to go out and get it on the pit with one other we've already got on there, and I'll fix up the last one, and then we'll show you how we do our glaze. Let's put this in the pit. Got some nice little smoke roll in there. You can tell I've already got one on. It's been on for a few minutes. Now, one thing to remember about on these is anytime you have a piece of meat, and this is any meat, and it's stretched out, those muscles, when they get hot, they start contracting in the squeeze out the juice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of scrunch this thing together. I do this with my, temperature's going down. There we go. I do this with my ribs. I do this with my briskets. I do this with everything. I just scrunch it all together. But it's in there and it's ready to go so that we don't squeeze all that water out of it. Let's get that closed up and let's get this last pork loin ready to go. Let's get started on making this this what I call my sweet chipotle glaze. What I do is I use strawberry preserves and grape jelly. Another great way to do this is raspberries. I didn't use raspberries this time. I've done it that way before. Do a raspberry chipotle pork loin, but by mixing these in here, this just has a good flavor to it. I've done it many times. Raspberry jelly is not cheap either, and especially like if you get jam, raspberry preserves, there's a lot of seeds in it. So you've got to go in there and strain it after you got to heat it up, or you can strain it, strain your seeds out, because people don't want to pick those seeds out of their mouth when they're having a raspberry chipotle pork loin. And you cannot always find a raspberry jelly. Oh, there's my spoon. And I'm going to do about a cup of each one to make this glaze with. We've got that in there. Now I'm just going to kind of blend those together to mix them. Now I have my jellies blended up good together. And I'm going to take, all I can tell you is to your taste. I'm going to get about a half a dozen chipotles and drop in here. There's 3 of them. There's 4 or 5. There's 6. And then I'm just going to get some of the sauce. And I'm going to drop some sauce in there also. These are chipotles in adobo. So that's what I use these a lot. Y'all have seen me use them on other items. But we're going to blend this up now. Now all I'm going to do is just sample this. It's stirred nice. And at this time you can say, hey, I want more heat, I want less heat, I want it sweeter. I think this one's actually pretty good right where it's at. And that was about a cup, maybe cup and a half of each jelly, and then about 6 adobos and maybe 6 chipotles and about 2 tablespoons of the adobo sauce. If you don't want it quite as hot, that's fine. Now remember this though, this is going to coat the outside of that pork loin. So when you slice it, everyone's not getting a great big amount of it. They're just getting what's on the surface of it on a 1-inch cut chop. So they're not getting a tremendous amount at a time, so it's a nice little addition to that loin. If you're going to use it as a serving sauce along with it, maybe a garnish along on the plate, something to serve it on top of, you can thin it down some more with some more jelly and get a little sweeter if it was a little hotter on the loin itself. Then maybe make your serving sauce that goes with it just a little bit on the sweeter side. Anyways, this is ready to go. It's not going to go on those pork loins until about the last 20 minutes. When they hit about 130, 135, I'll start looking at putting these on there, and we're going to take those pork loins up to 140 to 145 degrees. But if we leave this on there for at least 20 minutes, that sauce will set. It'll be candied up real good, and it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful pork loin. All of our pork loins are sitting between 140 and 145, so we're going to pull them off, give you all a look at them. Here they are. They're looking real pretty. And what I'm going to do is take these off, and then 2 of these we're going to sauce up with our sweet chipotle glaze and get back on here. Now it's time to get the chipotle glaze on top of these pork loins. And remember, this is just strawberry jelly and grape jelly with some Chipotle Peppers and adobo sauce. And we blended that up, got it nice and smooth. Gonna pour it across the top of this pork loin here, and we're gonna spread it nice and evenly. You don't want a whole lot of it, just a nice thin coat, and we're gonna coat the entire pork butt with it, or excuse me, the entire pork loin with it. and get it covered good. Once this side's covered, I'm going to take it. Now we're going to flip it over and see if we can get the other side a little bit. Spread that around a little bit. And we're picking up a little bit of au jus also that's off that pork loin, and in that pan mix it with it. And that adds just a little bit more flavor onto it so that we can get a good flavor on top of this pork loin. Now that one is good to go. So what I'm going to do is move this one over here. Put this one back in here. There we go. And I'm just going to take some of this sauce here. Got quite a bit of it. Gather it up. And coat this one. Au jus coming out in here, so this sauce is mixing with that au jus. If that piece broke off, I probably need to sample that. Oh yeah, that's good. So these two, we're going to take these two back out, get them on the pit, and set this sauce on them maybe another 15-20 minutes. Let's get these on there. Let's get this sauce set. Again, we're going to try to go about 20 minutes, maybe 15. Don't want to get them too hot. I don't want to get them over that 145 degrees. We're going to set those there, close them up, let them cook for a little while. Now these pork loins have been on there for about another 20 minutes. You can see that sauce is set. It's nice and glistening on here. So we're going to take them off. And we're going to let these sit for about 10-15 minutes, and we're not going to slice them right away. We're going to slice these at service. So when people ask, we're going to slice them. Pork loins tend to dry out a lot, and once you cut them, so we don't want them to do that. So we're just going to cut them when people ask for a slice of them. Just want to give you all a look at how these turned out. That is a pretty pork loin. A nice little smoke ring in them. They are nice and moist. Those are nice and tender. They came out good. They're still moist because we didn't get them too hot. We took them to that 145 degrees and got them off the pit. So everything came out real well. They look great. And I think the family's going to like them at the family reunion today. We're fixing to carry them out and start feeding everybody. But they turned out fantastic. Thanks for stopping by Texas Style Cuisine today. I sure do appreciate it. If you enjoyed these sweet Chipotle pork loins I did today, go down there and give me a big thumbs up. If you've never subscribed my channel, now would be a great time to do it. Remember to share me on your social media. Remember to tell your friends about us. Let them know what's going on Texas Style Cuisine. Bring them on over here with you, and we'll see you down the road on Texas Style Cuisine.
Sitting by the wagon when the sun come up this morning, bacon, eggs, and coffee, biscuits, and beans. Cookie strikes the bell and he rings the world a warning. How them boys put food away beats all I've ever seen.